Kate's in the kitchen, and you're invited too. I'm Kate, and this is my kitchen. May is Asian Pacific Islander Month in the U.S., and that encompasses a lot of cultures with delicious food. Hawaiian, Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Samoan. There's just a broad range, and I decided to make a few dishes to pay tribute to those cultures. I'm going to make egg rolls, and there are several steps to this process. The first is to prepare our meat. I've got 2 chicken breasts, and I've cut them into strips. We're going to poach these. Now you could use ground chicken and just skip the poaching step, but I like the poaching because it infuses the chicken itself full of flavor before you even add the sauce. So I've got some sodium-free chicken stock, 2 tablespoons of butter, a half teaspoon of fresh ginger, and a couple of cloves of garlic that I just smashed. You don't need to cut them up because this is just a poaching liquid. And then some fresh ground black pepper. For the vegetable portion, I've got a 1.5 cups of finely shredded cabbage. You can use any kind of cabbage that you like. A cup of shredded carrots, about 2 tablespoons of very finely diced red onion, 2 garlic cloves, also finely diced, and 1 tablespoon of finely diced pepper. You can use whatever kind of pepper that you like, depending on how much spice and heat you want in your egg roll. And then a half teaspoon of grated fresh ginger. And for the sauce, 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce, a tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, and 2 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce. After you make the sauce, before you roll your egg rolls, give it a taste. See if you want more sweet or more heat, or maybe a little more acid tones from the vinegar, and you can add just a little bit more of any of those. For the chicken, I'm going to put the butter in first and get that melting. I've got my smashed garlic and my fresh ginger. I don't use a lot of ginger, but the flavor of fresh ginger as opposed to ground is just night and day difference. So I just put my ginger in the refrigerator if I'm going to use it all, or in the freezer, and just cut off or scrape off what I need for my dish. You could make these egg rolls also with ground pork, and again, you wouldn't be poaching. If you use ground pork or ground chicken, you would just saute it. I'm going to add the chicken, and we are not sauteing this, so the stock is going to go in immediately. And I want just enough stock to cover the chicken. And I'm going to turn these over about every 5 minutes to make sure that they get poached evenly. I'm going to add a little bit of fresh ground black pepper. And then I'm going to turn the heat down and just let these poach very slowly. While the chicken is poaching, I'm going to do the vegetables. I'm going to give just a little bit of oil in this pan. Make sure it's hot. I'm going to start with the carrots. And really this is just to dump everything in at once kind of thing. So I've got my cabbage. I've got my fresh garlic. You could use garlic powder, but there's a difference in flavor between fresh garlic and garlic powder. The same with the onions. You could use onion powder. And I've got my fresh ginger. Get all that goodness out of there. It doesn't take much with fresh ginger. It's quite potent. And my chopped pepper. And again, with the pepper, you can make this spicier by your choice of pepper, or just by adding more of the pepper you got. But my husband doesn't like it too spicy, so I'm going to back off a little. And I'm not going to cook these all the way through. I just want to get them softened so they're easier to work with inside the egg rolls. I'm going to add just a couple tablespoons of the chicken stock just to help these steam a bit. The vegetables are getting pretty soft, so I'm going to add my parsley. When I'm working with parsley or cilantro, I generally like to add it towards the end because I don't want to overcook it and I want to retain that beautiful fresh flavor that it gives to the dish. Vegetables are about where I want them. I'm going to build the sauce right in the same pan. You could do this separately, but I don't want extra cleanup, so I'm just going to build it all in here and then give it a taste for salt, sweetness, heat, and acidity levels. You want that kind of umami of everything coming together, which is another reason to add the soy sauce and the hoisin. So you can see it's not super saucy, which of course you would not want that for egg rolls. And lastly, I'm going to add my vinegar. And now I'm just going to give this a quick taste. Now that doesn't look like a lot of vegetables. It's because my family likes their egg rolls very meaty. You could make this completely vegetarian and leave out the chicken. Just do about 2 or 3 times the vegetable mix. Or you can make it less meaty and just double the amount of cabbage, carrots, etc. I think that's perfect, just as it is. I'm going to turn that off and set it aside. And once the chicken's poached, we'll continue on. I'm going to make a dipping sauce for the egg rolls, and I'm going to use the same flavors that went into the egg roll filling. I'm going to use a half a tablespoon, of soy, and a tablespoon of hoisin. If I can get this open without splattering myself. Okay. And then I'm going to use a tablespoon of the sweet chili sauce. I'm going to add just a couple of drops of hot sauce. And then I'm going to use garlic powder because this is not going to be cooked. I don't want that raw garlic flavor taking over the sauce. And then I'm just going to give that a little mix. And I'll give it a little taste to see if I need to change anything. Pretty good. Could use just a tad more heat. And there we have our dipping sauce. Nice and thick so it sticks to the egg. I'm going to take the chicken and I'm going to slice it and then mince it up very fine for the egg rolls. If it's a little pink in the middle still, that's all right. You don't want to overcook the chicken and get it dry and rubbery. And this meat will cook inside the egg rolls when they go into the deep fryer or the oven. I'm going to mix the chicken into our vegetables. And as I said, we like it very meaty. I want to get that all thoroughly combined. And after I poached the chicken and took it out of the pan, I set aside the poaching liquid, and right now I am cooking that down. I'm going to cook till it almost gets to a syrupy consistency, strain it, and put a little bit of that into here as well. I've let the chicken and vegetable mixture cool completely, and I added the reduced poaching liquid. It only came out to about 2 tablespoons after I cooked it way down. The nice thing about this egg roll recipe is you can adapt it to what you like. You can make it vegetarian, you can make it with pork or chicken or even shrimp. You can put in chopped up water chestnuts or bamboo shoots or celery, whatever you like in here. I was in the refrigerator cleaning it out a bit and I found just a little bit of leftover red bell pepper, so I'm going to throw that in raw. And that way you get a crunchy bite here and there because they won't get too cooked down when we fry them. Time to assemble the egg rolls. You're going to place it on your cutting board on the diagonal. Put 1 good spoonful of filling in there. You don't want to overfill it because you don't want these to break open. Take the bottom and fold it up. Fold in one side, fold in the other. Try to get this part tucked in. You don't want it sticking out, so try to get that tucked in. A little bit of egg wash, and then just roll it and place it face down on the pan. And we're going to let those sit for a few minutes to let that egg seal up even better before we fry them or bake them. So I'm going to finish rolling these up. It's time to fry our egg rolls. You want your oil about 365 to 375 degrees. And you want to use a neutral oil like canola or something because you don't want to give added flavor like peanut or corn. So I'm just going to do a test on one here. Yes, that oil is hot. Okay. You probably fry 2 at a time. I don't want to crowd the pan because then it'll drop the temperature of the oil too quickly and will get greasy and not crispy. I'm going to remove the egg rolls with some paper towel to drain off the excess oil, and then I'm going to move them immediately onto a cookie sheet so they don't get soggy from the steam created by the hot egg roll. All right, on to the next 2. When I was deciding what to make for Asian Pacific Islander Month, I couldn't decide if I wanted to do a lettuce wrap, an egg roll. So I decided to put the 2 together. So I'm going to take a beautiful piece of butter lettuce and one of our egg rolls. I'm going to give it a little extra crunch with some fresh cabbage and some fresh shredded carrot. I'm going to spoon on a little bit of our dipping sauce for the egg rolls. And there we have it, an egg roll lettuce wrap. And I would say that is going to be quite a mouthful. One last addition I forgot about is a little bit of our chopped peanuts. All right, I'm going to give this a taste. Let's give it a try. The addition of the cabbage and the carrot and the lettuce gives a little coolness and freshness, and then the peanuts give just a little extra salt and crunch as well. It's really good. I hope you give it a try.